How you doing? This is Velez, better cartoonist from the Bronx. Having a special guest today, Abigail DeVille. She's gonna be one of the BRONX TEN today. How you
Hey,
doing, Abigail?
hey, what's up?
We met about 5, 6 years ago. So I'm very happy
Oh
that
my goodness, really?
time goes by
It's
too
more
fast.
like 9 years ago.
Is it 9 years ago?
That's 9 years ago.
Oh my God! Oh no! Yeah, next year's gonna be 10. Wow,
Yeah,
that's a
I
long
know.
time. That's a long
I
time.
know.
It's not a question, but can you tell me who you are and why are you in terms of art?
Who am I? I'm a visual artist. I make a lot of site-specific sculptures. I feel like that's what I'm most known for.
Mm.
So I get invitations where I show up at a place and I'll research some history about the location, and then I'll make something in response to that, to something that I find interesting in the research. But I usually make it with whatever found materials I find, like on site or nearby or within the town, or yeah, structure of however the residency or the commission is set up. But I also make paintings, and I do set design sometimes and costume design also. And I've done multiple performances where I collaborate with performers. Mostly I'm doing like the setup, not the actual performing. I do not perform, but yes.
First question. So what's your connection to the Bronx, Miss Abigail?
I was raised in the Bronx. My daddy was raised in the Bronx. Yes. My grandma died in the Bronx. Yeah, I mean, my dad's family came from Richmond, Virginia, maybe around 1942 to Harlem. And then my dad was born in 53. And around maybe like 1952, 53, they moved to the Bronx. And he was raised in Marble Hill houses. And I
Oh
lived in a
no.
bunch of yeah, I lived in a bunch of places in the kind of that northwestern corridor of the Bronx over there. I grew up on Marshall Loop Parkway. My dad and brother both dropped out of DeWitt Clinton. I went to high school downtown because I was like, I'm getting out of here. But I love the Bronx. I love the Bronx.
How are you feeling about the world these days?
I feel great. Very optimistic.
Okay,
I know,
just
honestly, it's
you.
true. I'm not being sarcastic, you know. Who
That's good.
knows what the future brings? And you
Yeah.
know, I don't want to blame anybody for last week's last week's election results. But honestly, you know, I saw a couple of videos of people like assessments online, and there were some comforting videos out there in terms of like people thinking, oh God, you know, the country's really gone right. It's pretty much the same amount of people that voted for Trump the first time. What happened was that the Democrats have just like been crapping on people for the last 3 election cycles, and people didn't show up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't frame it every single time, every single election, that this is the end of democracy if you don't vote, and then expect people to come out and vote because they have no other option, and then you're going to continue to do the same nothing that you've been doing for the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, every single time you're going to just win by default because evil is the other choice. They both evil. How about that? Yeah, both evil. So what now? So what's it gonna be? So we gonna see. We gonna see. We gonna see.
We're all gonna see. Can art help?
I think art it has so much. Oof, I was about to say a divination tool, but I feel like art
Yeah.
it has so many parts to what its potential is and what it can actually do. I think it helps the person that makes it. I think it helps the faithful of those who actively like consume it. I think it helps change your mind and perspective about specific things or specific histories. I think it makes, you know, invisible histories, it renders them visible. It's a time capsule for the moment in which it was created in, right? Like it's breadcrumbs talking to future generations of what this particular moment was about. about and what this culture like held to be important. I think like it's a record of our human existence, but you know, then it's like so many things at once. It's insane, right? And it's like it's a faith-based practice too, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I say that for the maker and for the person that happens to find it 2,000 years from now, you know, like, what is this thing that I'm looking at? What was poured into it? And what is it transmitting to me? What is the information that's being transmitted to me? Something that I started saying very recently, it's, you know, it's time travel without the machine, right? It's time
Yeah.
traveling without the machine. So I think art is vitally important to our existence. Can it heal the world? I don't know about that. Is it going to change people's hearts to be like a little bit less evil, a little less selfish, a little less like bloodthirsty? I don't know about all of that, right? But you know, I think it is one of the most effective communication tools that we have.
What's the importance of art in your life?
It is my whole life. I don't know how that happened, but you know, that's what being an artist is you thinking about what's the next thing I'm going to make? What am I making? How am I going to make it? How am I going to pay for it? What am I doing? I mean, like it ends up being like your whole existence, actually.
What is your biggest artistic influence, particularly in the beginning? What was the thing that really got you?
In the beginning,
Yeah.
I think, when I was a teenager, I do remember wandering around the Metropolitan Museum of Art, I think, like by myself and coming through like maybe the 20th century wings and seeing like abstract expressionism for the first time.
Really?
I feel like that was the thing that really like punched me in the gut. I think as a kid, you know, like I grew up like seeing graffiti in the street and seeing graffiti on the trains, or, you know, people having like really great like drawing skills and being able to draw someone realistically, or thinking about portraits. But I feel like, you know, when you start to like discover the world that you're in by yourself, you know, as a teenager, right? Like you start to like grow wings and start to spread out a little bit. The things that you discover for yourself also become maybe more meaningful than the thing that you saw every day on your block, right? Or on your, you know, on your commute to school or something.
Okay, who was your biggest artistic influence, particularly in the beginning? Quem
In the
era?
beginning.
Yeah.
What did I really love? I don't know. Oh, you know what? Spider-Man comic books, maybe when I was a kid.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, that's like the earliest art that I was like given, or that we collected together. Because my dad was like super big into comic books, and we used to go downtown and go to comic book stores. And my brother collected Superman, I collected Spider-Man, and so yeah, when I was 9 years old, I was super into Spider-Man comic books, and I had a whole bunch. I think they're probably still around somewhere. Yeah, that's, and my dad was like super anime geek too, so we also got raised on that as well.
What is your least liked aspect of art culture?
What is the what aspect?
The least liked aspect, the stuff that you really don't like about art culture.
Our culture, American culture.
American art culture, I guess.
Oh, I don't know. You know, like I feel like I haven't lived in another country long enough to know what's really going on. Because I
Okay.
feel like you get so romanced by the experience of being someplace else, and everything is so wonderful and beautiful. Like my favorite country to go to outside of the United States is Italy. And then, you know, I found out recently that there's no such thing as like torture and under the law, like an Italian law.
Good.
I'm like, get the hell out of here. So torture is legal? Okay, next. I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't love this country as much as I do. But you know, I would say for America, I think one of the number one issues, and then so how do you change this, right? Is hypocrisy. You know, I think that's like, I think hypocrisy is an American virtue, right? Like not democracy, just like straight up lying. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we're saying we're going to be about this, but in actuality and in practice, we're really this, right? And that's going to be the whole end, like the beginning and end of our story, is that we couldn't tell the truth about ourselves to ourselves. And all the people who bear the brutality and the brunt of, you know, how it is that the law functions for whom it was created for, right? Like, and them people been telling the truth the whole time. It's everybody else who's a freaking liar. And acts like they're good natured or something, or like they care about freedom and things. And it's just like, freedom for who? Freedom for what? Like, freedom for you to like make money and like maybe like oppress as many people as possible, or, you know, like, I don't know. So I feel like, yeah, like, oh yeah, America, oof, land of the free.
Oh, what's your favorite part of our culture?
And maybe the diversity of perspective, right? Because I think that's the thing, right? That's what makes this country different from other countries. Is there's probably, you can probably find someone from every corner of the planet somewhere here in the United States, right? And so that makes good food, that makes good art, that makes pretty people. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Last question. What is your dream creation? What do you want to do? At least by the time you're done. At least this thing.
Life? Or what do you mean by the time I'm done?
Like your creation, you're like artists, like they have like I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do art like this. Or I want to do this piece. I want to do this kind of thing. And that's my dream piece.
I have a couple things that I'm thinking about right now, but I don't know how to make them or get them done, like very large scale projects. And then I'm not sure what my role in that is also, because I'm like, what are you now, like a producer or like a festival producer or something? Like, what's going on here?
Do you want to make your artist an event?
I want to make events. Like, I want to make, I just found recently, like for a project I did in New Orleans, there's in the National Archives 30 rolls of microfilm that is every ship manifest that transported people from Virginia, Maryland to populate the slave market in New Orleans. There's 136,000 people, right? From 1806 to 1860. But the amazing thing about these ship manifests, it has first and last names on them. Right, so there's like probably in other places where this person's name was never written down, like outside of this one document, right? So I'm like, oh, how many different ways can I make something that could honor the lives of these people, say their names, but make it as ephemeral as possible, right? Because I don't really believe in monuments. Like monuments are for whom, right? They're just about power. And within a generation or two, nobody even knows what the monument is for or who the people were that were being honored in the creation of it, right? And so how many different ways can you like resuscitate the past and the present, but like in the most kind of like light and delicate ways? And for me, that's light and voice and like breath. And so I commissioned 4 composers to make works in response to this. But now I'm like, what if we research every single port on the coastal cities where people were taken in, you know, the United States? Maybe it's probably the eastern seaboard, right? Like the Southeast, and do like a music festival, right? And like invite local musicians from those communities to come and participate. And then maybe I make something, maybe I make an installation or something. I don't know. I just keep seeing it happening in front of water. So, you know, like, yeah, I want to do this now. Now I want to do this music festival thing that is tied to the journey of these people. But then also I kind of want to make something also here in the Bronx, like in the spring, which might be like a test run for that, which might be like 100 sculptures in a space, and that's open like for.
That sounds so good.
Yeah, 72 hours, and then invite as many community groups as possible to like perform, like music groups, bands, like poets, like dance groups, whatever, you know?
That's the question. Thank you so much. You know, that art didn't come out that good, but it's always fast. It's only 10 minutes, or 12 minutes. But the piece that came out.
Oh, wow, that looks awesome.